Hey guys, it's Kat. So I've been watching a lot of videos recently on people talking about how having a degree in 2025 is useless, they can't find jobs, nobody wants to hire, or people just aren't wanting to pay them what they're worth. Today I just kind of wanted to give my opinion on the matter. For me personally, being out of college for about 3 years now with a degree in business, and I also did a video a couple weeks ago on my whole college experience, but that was over 40 minutes long, and for those of you who want to go check it out, I greatly appreciate it. But, in that video, I just kind of briefly went over at a certain point, like what I thought about getting a degree, or maybe not getting one at all. But quite honestly, that video was so long, I completely forgot what I said in it. But today just am gonna give honestly what I think about getting a degree. I mean, do I regret my degree? Is it just a piece of paper? I mean, those are the questions. So other than that, let's get into it. Okay, so I just want to cut to the chase. I would say I don't necessarily regret my degree. I mean, I'm very thankful to have went to college and to have met all of these amazing people and had all of these great experiences. I mean, even though I will admit it was the 4 most stressful years of my life, but I would say that, maybe in another life, because I do believe everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. I just feel that maybe in another life, if I were able to do it differently, I wouldn't have, or I guess I felt pressured, like I had to go to college because society and my parents were telling me that, you're not going to be successful unless you have a degree, so you have to go. I guess what I'm really saying is that I would have taken the time to just really think for myself, what I really wanted to do. Like thinking, do I really want to go right away? I mean, do I want to go back later in life, or do I even want to go at all? I just feel that I should have just thought it through for myself, and then made a decision and not feeling pressured by anybody. I did have these thoughts even before I went to college, thinking that, once I finally get my degree, my life is just going to change. I'm going to be making all of this money, but that's just not the case at all. And to be quite honest with you, which I'm sure a lot of you know too, college is a scam. I mean, even though I, was fortunate enough to go, I'm just going to be honest with y'all and say, my parents helped me, get through college, so I don't have any, student debt that I have to pay off, and I'm very thankful for that. But, at the time, I still had to work, and I still had my own bills I had to pay, and there was a lot of pressure on me to make good grades, because if I didn't, and they said, I did have to have a job too, or else, they weren't going to fund my school. And even though, like I said, I'm very thankful for that, it's just, it's crazy because, again, when I was younger, I still had all of these same thoughts. And I guess when I'm saying younger, I mean, a couple of years ago while I was in college, I was still thinking it. You're going through 4 years, spending money, putting yourself in debt, just to hopefully find a good paying job in the future to pretty much just pay it all off. I also saw a really great comment on a video the other day just talking about degrees, saying, college is a business for those of us who are smart enough to realize that. And a piece of paper is not going to, always guarantee that your future is going to be set. So don't always expect that you're gonna make it through with life just because you have a degree. A lot of these employers today, they're honestly not even interested in people who have degrees. They're more interested in people with experience. I can understand that, but I think the most irritating thing is when you have your degree and you've been working hard for years to build up this experience, and then you go to apply for a job and they just don't want to hire you. This happened to me when I graduated from college and I applied for my first job after, and At the time, I did have experience, but I could have used a little bit more or gained a little bit more. And I understood that. But it's kind of like now, I've still been working hard for years to build up more experience. And I just recently applied for a job and actually another job. And I have not heard anything back in a couple of weeks. So I guess I'm not getting those jobs, but yeah, it's just very irritating when, you've been trying to put in the work for so long. And, I guess the thing for me right now is I'm really just kind of floundering because, I also haven't found a job that I've really wanted to make as a career. I also don't think a degree is necessarily worthless because, I do think it shows that, you spent 4 years of your life, trying to go to school, putting in the work to get educated and gain more knowledge. But at the same time, I'm sure employers are thinking that, some people could have just cheated their way through because a degree doesn't always, mean that you're, like they say, that you're smart. But just think about it how if you had an employer who's interviewing two people, say that you have one person who has over, let's say, 20 years of experience or 10 years, and then you have the other person who maybe has a degree and maybe has worked one or two jobs their whole life. And of course, they might be different ages too, but who are you going to hire? Well, if I'm the employer, I would honestly want to interview both of them, but I'm going to talk to the person first who has, 10 years of experience and no degree over that other person. Because at the end of the day, it really comes down to proving yourself and what you know. And I don't know if I had said at the beginning, I'm very thankful, and blessed that I got to go to college. But I know for a fact, if it hadn't been for my parents, I wouldn't have been able to go at all. And of course, I would have not wanted to put myself in debt. But I'm saying to all of you that, I guess, like I said, don't feel pressured that you have to go or that you have to go right away. Trade school is always an option as well. But just thinking about my degree, like I said, I went for business. And, you have to have the mindset of, like, they're not going to be able to teach you business and management. It's about being placed in those, situations, and going for the experience. Like if I'm working in a restaurant, you just never know what could happen. Like you don't know how you're going to act in certain situations. So it's all about just building up that experience. I didn't start working until I was a certain age either. I don't think I started working until I was 18, but the whole point I'm trying to get to is that, I wish I would have started at a much younger age so I could have had like that experience at such a young age. But in my opinion, just to do with, business and management, I don't think you necessarily need a degree for that. But, it really depends on, not even just business, but other things as well that you don't necessarily need a degree for either. It's just more about your experience. So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that I could have honestly just maybe worked my way up for years in another life and probably not have gone to college and probably got a well-paying job. But even now, just thinking about it, some people, like I had said, people just aren't wanting to hire them even when they have both. People just aren't wanting to pay them what they're worth. But I also had thoughts, you know, maybe I wanted to go back for my master's in the future, just to maybe kind of, you know, have it as like a pride thing, like I did that. But of course go because, you know, I want to become more knowledgeable, you know, in the field of business. But, yeah, I mean, a lot of people have told me, and I even think for myself too, well, why would I even want to do that when I can't even find a good job as of right now, even when I have my degree? I also just wanted to say that, you know, I've never believed that a person's worth or intelligence is based off of whether they have a degree or not. Because, you know, even when I was in high school and I didn't want to be there, and of course in college too, you know, I always, you know, try to stay humble about it and think, you know, about all these people maybe in different countries who aren't able to go to school. And not even just that, in America itself, where a lot of people, you know, too don't have the opportunity, you know, or the funds to go to school. And, you know, just trying to think about how blessed I was too. But, yeah, another thing is too for you guys, would just say that don't go to college unless you really are able to and you want to. But like I said, again, I am very thankful for the experiences. I mean, I did learn a lot, but I really just think that, yeah, people should not feel pressured by society. I mean, society is always feeding us these lies, and, you know, we just need to be able to think for ourselves. And I think in this day and age, like I said in previous videos, we're calling out the system, and a lot of people, the greedy people that we work for, you know, they're not liking that too much. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love you guys. Stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye.